Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
In today's podcast, we're covering the Studio Ghibli film, and we're surprised that maybe not many people talk about from Up on Poppy Hill.
which I couldn't get right for quite a while.
Yeah,
Now
somehow.
I remember it.
Somehow. It was like, it's so simple.
Now, this movie is based on a Japanese graphic novel and takes place in 1963, right before the Tokyo Olympics. And this also shows the young love between high school students Umi and Shun. However, when an old family secret surfaces, it threatens to tear them apart. Yes, there was some drama in this Miyazaki movie.
Yes. And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notification for updates on future podcasts and multiple pause videos.
Now, this is the first slice of life movie we've seen of his where absolutely no magic is included in the story. But it still is a fantastic movie.
Right. Closest you got was My Neighbors the Yamadas, but even then they had some fantastical things going on. They were explaining the stories and things to you.
Right.
So here, yes, it's very grounded. There's the only fantasy part I think would be the secret you find out within the film, which we'll be getting to. And here it really starts off simple, almost reminds you of My Neighbor Totoro, where it seems like it's pretty slice of life, which it is, and they make sure they keep accurate to the time period it's in as well. You get the old music, the clothes, the things people said back then, everything they kept accurate to the time period.
Yes. And it's beautifully animated, of course, it's Miyazaki. It looks gorgeous. And it's so cute how it starts off because Umi meets Shun. Shun sees Umi. Shun falls for Umi like Hori. And he jumps off a building for her. And
Yes,
I said, as soon as I saw it, I said, he's going to jump off the building for her. He stares at her and he stares at her.
And I guess
He jumps!
to show off, yeah, and it's like,
And then she calls him stupid, and then somehow I said,
well, you must like stupid because you fall for him anyway. I was like, what the heck? And it's funny because when they meet these other guys, apparently all these guys started this thing where they're in an old abandoned house that they don't want torn down, and they have all their clubs in it in one place. So they kind of hold, like, whatever club they got, they help there. And the thing is, one of Umi's sisters goes to the same school as her, and she wants to go visit the place where all the clubs are. And she tells her, "Come on, I really want to go, so I don't need to go. I don't want to go there." She said, "Come on, I'm desperate." Well, I'm not. like, wow, that was some sass.
and it was so funny because she's, she has this attitude like, she don't need no man.
For a minute,
she ends up falling for Shun.
Yeah,
and you knew it was coming. You
Right.
knew it was coming because he's just like persistent. He keeps to hanging around her. He's always where she turns up.
Right,
And
it's like
funny
right.
because the sister tries to pick him up, and I'm like, he don't want you. He wants your sister.
That was like probably one of the funniest parts of the movie. It's like the earlier parts, maybe like the first 20 or so minutes. It's just hilarious. Like, it still keeps you engaged without the fantasy element. There's still a lot of things and dialogue. It's just really endearing to it that makes you laugh. There's even one scene where they're holding a vote and they get really loud and rambunctious, and when the principal comes, they all get quiet and start singing like their Pledge of Allegiance. And it's like, wait a minute, you were just going off like 5 seconds ago.
So, unlike a lot of other movies you see, regardless of the time period, when it's school related, there is no school bully, there is no bad boy,
No popular girl.
Yes, there are clubs, but there are clubs that are suited for different purposes
Right.
and reasons, not because of clicks.
Right.
And it makes it really enjoyable because of that, because you really don't realize that there was a time when it was like this in school.
Right.
And it's nice to be able to see this historically, especially if you weren't alive during the time like neither of us were, and we get to see how it's depicted, as you said, realistically.
Right.
And it was just really nice to watch.
Right. And then comes in the sort of fantastical part. It's, I guess, in terms of, the secret, that's the closest it gets, but it's something that really changes the film for a bit, where you see the two of them get really close. I guess it's supposed to be unintentionally, but it happens anyway. And it comes to a point where they're having a cookout, and you find out about Umi's father who had passed, and she left up the flags for him all the time, you know, in memory of him. And it gets to a point where it gets him inside the house to see a picture of him when he was in the he was in the Navy, right? I think the Navy.
The Japanese Navy.
And the what's his name? Shun actually recognizes the dad,
and then you know something's gonna go wrong because you see his face.
Right. And for a while they just kind of keep their distance, and you don't know why.
Well, no, he keeps his distance.
Right.
He keeps avoiding her.
Yeah.
He acts like he doesn't see her. She runs over to him, and he excuses himself politely, or he suddenly has something to do, and you're like, well, what the heck? We know something's going on because it happened after you saw the picture. What is it? And you know, we were thinking maybe her dad was responsible for his dad dying.
Right.
We find out no, both his parents are alive.
Yeah, and then when you get to it, he asks his dad about, you know, who's friends with in the Navy, and it comes to a point where he tells him that her.
He tells him the truth. We're not gonna spoil it for anyone.
Oh, well, you're ready to tell them. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Because there's no point in seeing.
All right, if you see this.
If he tell you.
Okay.
But once he tells him, it's
it
like,
changes the movie.
whoa.
It changes like the whole movie. The whole feel just suddenly changes. It goes from being this little endearing movie and stuff, and then it's like, oh gosh.
And then here's another.
Gosh.
And then later on in the movie, it happens again. It's another whoa moment.
Yeah.
So we can't tell you either one.
Unfortunately.
There's no sense in you watching the movie, and we can't do that to you.
Unfortunately, yeah. It's like kind of like Promised Neverland. It's like it's best if you don't know till you see it.
Right. We will tell you there is a happy ending, although you don't get to see it. And it's really just, again, for being slice of life, it's just really interesting and engaging and entertaining. And I know there are a lot of people out there that don't care for slice of life anime. Well,
Right.
I'm not one of them. I love them. And I love the ones that you think it's not going to be something interesting or it's just going to be run of the mill, and they aren't.
Right.
And they've got drama that's not, you know, reality show, Maury Povich drama.
Right.
It's something that
Right.
you're surprised to find out. But this is a beautifully animated movie, and it's very calming watching it. Even when these two different things happen within the movie, it's still calming. You're surprised. You are taken aback. You're wondering what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you during the entire movie, you will be rooting for Umi and Shun to somehow get together.
Right. And two things definitely gotta mention is that one, they had a pretty great voice cast in here, and the standout one for us was Anton Yelchin, who was Shun. Because one part it was sad because we know he has passed on, but another part was hilarious because Mom said,
all I hear is Jim. All I hear is Jim Lake. And in case you're not familiar with the name, he's the voice of Jim Lake in the Troll Hunters series.
yes.
And all I could think when I heard it's like, Jim, it's just Jim. Like, daylight is mine to command.
Right.
And it was bittersweet because we absolutely loved him in the role of Jim Lake. And you know that he unfortunately was killed in an accident.
Yes.
And so it was bittersweet. We love this. It was nice to hear his voice again. And yeah, all you're going to think of if you've seen Troll Hunters is Jim Lake.
Right.
That's it.
And one more thing to bring up is that this was the first movie in Studio Ghibli that was directed by Hayao Miyazaki's son. And it's actually, you know, really great for it being, it was a little different from the other films, but it still felt like a Miyazaki film. Now, and we bring it up because we know the movie after this is Irigen the Witch, which is solely by the son of Miyazaki, and it felt a whole lot different. But for here, I think it works because the two of them work together on a movie, and I think that's how it should be done for future movies that the son is going to direct or be in charge of. I think the dad should still be working with him on it in another job or another part of it.
And even though he had that input, it still felt and breathed Miyazaki. It fit with the Studio Ghibli brand.
Right.
It wasn't something that was so shocking, so radically different, and not entertainably so that you're just like, oh my gosh, it just fits right in with the brand, which is really important.
Right. Now that's the next movie.
So if you have seen From Up on Poppy Hill, let us know what you think in the comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you surprised that this was actually a Miyazaki movie like we were? And if you haven't seen it, it's available to purchase. You may find it at your library. It's not on any streaming service in America. But if you live outside of America, it's probably on Netflix or some other streaming service available for you. But if you do get a chance to watch it, let us know what you think in the comments as well.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, notification updates on future podcasts and want to pause videos.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for watching. I'm Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.